Hello, Nicole, and thank you for joining. So, this is Nicole Lewis-Keeber, and I'd love it if you would just start by introducing yourself and what you do for some context.
Hey there. So thank you for having me. I'm Nicole Lewis-Keeber, and I have a master's degree in social work. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a business therapist, author, speaker, and my niche in the world is exploring the impact of childhood trauma on entrepreneurship. And it's something I speak and write about, and I work with business owners and entrepreneurs and leaders to help them understand how their childhood impacts how they make decisions in their business now so that they can get some relief and improve their profits, their processes, and the work that they do with their people.
I love that. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. And Nicole has agreed to join me today to talk about her experience with our podcast planning intensive. That's what we call our version of the VIP day, where we basically build a podcast outreach plan for you and deliver it, or not just for you, I guess more with you. It's
Yeah.
a lot behind the scenes, but then there's some co-working together. So Nicole, I'd love it if you could talk through why you decided that you wanted to go with this option with us, especially because you jumped on it like right when it was brand new. You were one of our first buyers.
I did. Well, first of all, I admire your work, and I know that you're someone in the field who really knows what they're doing and has, been doing this work for a while. So I admired the experience and the expertise. And it was just, I had wanted to work with you before, but it wasn't quite the right fit at that point. So when I saw this, I'm like, oh, okay, we can jump in, we can get it done. They can help me figure out pitches, which is what I knew I needed to do, and get me organized. I jumped right at it because I had not had a difficulty getting podcasts myself. People asked me to be on their podcast, but I knew that I wanted to make some changes and get more visibility, and I was going to need to pitch podcasters that I don't know, and that there's a specific way to do that, elegantly, you know. And I knew that you all could help me with that, so I was like, yes, let's do this.
You ever kind of reached out? And so when we say pitched, if you're listening, if you know what that means, it's just like send a cold email to a
Yeah,
podcaster saying, I'd like to be on your show. Had you ever done that for yourself before?
no.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is was brand new for you doing that.
It was brand new, and I knew I needed another strategy because I like being asked. That's nice. Everyone wants to invite to the party, right? But when you are putting together a strategy, that's not consistent enough and it's not strategic enough, for the place I was wanting to change into my business. So I knew I needed a plan.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great way to talk about sort of what you got when you worked with us and like were there any things about that experience that really stood out to you or were like, yes, this is what I was looking for as you went through it.
Yeah, what I loved is that it was a collaborative experience in that it wasn't just here's some templates, go use them, or kind of uh, not as quite a personal approach, I guess is what I'm trying to
Mhm.
say. And I love that you all got to know me and my message and what it is I want the world to know about me and the work that I do, because it's a little bit of a different, take on the world of business. And that meant a lot for me to be able to see my work through your eyes and how you all would pitch it, or how you would invite someone, to consider me as a guest. So I really enjoyed that process of seeing my work through your lens and for us to be able to kind of talk back and forth about what made sense and where we wanted to take the messaging, for the next steps of my business. So I really enjoyed that piece.
I love that. Thank you so much. And were there any sort of surprises for you in the process as you work through it with us? Anything that you didn't expect?
It was definitely more hands-on than I even thought it would be, which I did enjoy quite a bit. And what I loved was the organization that you all provided with the spreadsheets. I will admit I'm not a spreadsheet person. I'm a very disorganized person, is the way my brain works. And I have loved having everything in one place, being able to, tag the podcasts that I've already sent, requests to. It's just been lovely, not just to have some examples of types of requests that I can send out with three different topics. I didn't even think I could do that. So we had three different angles to use. I was not expecting the organization and the options. So it was really really kind of neat. So yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. For people listening, so what we do is we deliver a spreadsheet and it's got some formulas in it that help you track if you pitch something, if they booked. So there's some formulas built in, and then we sort of tag them with the angles that we create for you. So every podcast, you get the contact information and then our suggestion for which pitch we write together to use. So I'm glad you like that. I'm a spreadsheet junkie, so I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm
Yes,
glad you
yes,
enjoyed that.
yes.
Well, let's talk about results. What kind of results have you seen from that work that we've done together?
Yeah, so the first result is that I actually was able to jump in and start doing it. I don't know about you, but if you're someone who's kind of an ADHD brain like me, you jump in, you get excited about something, and then you don't use the thing, or you have you still have it on your desktop and you haven't revisited it. So I was able to revisit it right away. So for me, that's a personal result that I'm very happy about. But also within the first month of sending out the letters or the emails, I got 3 bookings within the first month. I now have a fourth since then, but the results were pretty quick. And I used the different formats of different topics that angles, I can use
Yeah.
it that way, um, to send out to different podcasts. And it was kind of fun to see which ones came back immediately and which ones took a little bit of while and which ones we're still waiting for. But it's, yeah, like to get 3 immediately cold. These were cold contacts. I don't know these people. They don't know me. Within the first month was pretty exciting.
That's awesome. And you just told me that you had your first interview already as well, which is a very fast turnaround. I'm so excited.
Mhm. Yeah.
And was that a good podcast for you, the one that you were able to speak to so far?
Yeah, I think it was a podcast I probably would have not sent an email to request to be a guest on. But because of the research that you all did and looking at the different kind of intersections that some of these podcasts sit in, it was a podcast that you all recommended. And I was like, okay, why not? We'll do this. And she was lovely. She wrote back and she said, this is all wonderful. And, she's like, I also talk about these topics. Is this something that you could speak to? And I'm like, absolutely, our personal intentions around the decisions we make in our business, was something I absolutely could talk about. And we had the best conversation. And I would never have sent her an email, if y'all hadn't done that research. So it was a great conversation. And it was the right audience. I would have missed it.
I'm so glad to hear it. Was there anything that would have almost stopped you from signing up where you had a hesitation or a sort of initial objection where you're like, I almost didn't sign up because that you work through?
Mhm. I think I almost didn't. And again, I was, someone who was already aware of your
Mhm.
work. But I think the first thing for me was thinking I won't be able to follow through with this
Mhm.
because I do tend to be disorganized. And will it be too much? Will I be overwhelmed by it? And so I was a little worried about signing up for, one more thing that is overwhelming. So, but, being that I knew your work, I was like, I'll do it. And I was very happy that I did because it was not an overwhelming process at all. And I've used it.
Oh, I'm
I
so glad.
continue to use it.
I'm
So,
so glad to hear it. Last question. Is there anyone in particular you would recommend that they sign up for one of these podcast planning intensives and why?
yeah, if particularly if you are someone who you have a lot of different topics that you can talk about that you can speak to. I think it's helpful to kind of narrow it down and also to see what opportunities there may be to streamline your message in a way that you hadn't thought when pitching these podcasts. So if you're a speaker, if you're an author, if you're an entrepreneur who has a mission, kind of a mission driven entrepreneur, if you are someone who needs some visibility and some structure and support around getting more visible for your mission, your topic, whatever that may be, I think being on podcasts is a fantastic way to build your list, to gain credibility, to have people get to know you, and then more invitations come for more podcasts because once people hear you, that's a really great warm connection. So, you know, thought leader, entrepreneur, small business owner, coach. I was a therapist for 18 years. Now I'm not a coach. Like if you have something you want to say in a targeted way that will support your mission, your vision, or your business, why wouldn't you? Right.
I love it. That's exactly who we want to help. If you're watching and you want to see if you could benefit from one of our podcast planning intensives, just come over to our website, podcastally.com. Thank you so much. And I love catching up with you.